We're live. It is Thursday, the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. And there's a lot going on, in case you didn't notice. And if you didn't notice, I'm going to tell you what the situation is and then some. So look, Heather Holmes, as I reported first time about a year ago, the folks at the firm, they call KTVU part of Fox 2. They call Fox the firm because they have a very, almost like an organized crime sort of method of doing business. That's not to be, creepy or anything like that. It's just that's the industry term for Fox, the firm. And nowhere is that more evident than what's taking place locally at Fox 2, better known as KTVU. They've been interviewing a whole bunch of people, anchors, mostly women, I may add. And they continue to rotate people in and out. And it's just, organized chaos, I guess. Boy, could they use Frank Somerville, but that ship has sailed, as they say. That's not going to happen for, many reasons, So Heather Holmes, who's been their mainstay for over 20 years, the proverbial good soldier who has stayed and been very loyal because she was in the thought process of being half of whatever KTVU at 10 o'clock was to become. That's their bread and butter, 10 o'clock. That's what has been their mainstay, they being KTVU. This was even before, obviously, Fox. Heather Holmes, and I broadcast this a couple of weeks ago, she has been meeting with various Bay Area television news broadcast people. I can give you one specific and exclusive that I got wind of via a variety of my sources is that Heather Holmes took a ride across the bay to 855 Battery, where CBS News, both locally, KPIX, and nationally, CBS News has their 24/7 streaming program rooted, and met with many news higher-ups, the big, brouhahas, the kahunas. Heather Holmes, clearly feels out of place at Channel 2. Feels as if they would have told her that we are debuting you and Alex Savage, like they teased her about a year ago. They had the duo 2-0 in place, and now all of a sudden, the last few weeks, actually about a month, they have been unsure about that. Heather Holmes and Alex Savage was the chosen couple to become the principal news anchors for 6 and 10 o'clock. And that, I guess, is up in the air right now because in Channel 2 studios, they've been interviewing lots and lots of anchors, including Betty Yu, who I think is going to be half of what they eventually go to. Will they double down and stick with Mike Meback? I guess, perhaps, although they themselves know that Meback, and this has nothing to do with my opinion of Meback, if I didn't care for him, but knew firsthand that he was going to become part of the new 10 o'clock news, I would have said so. I don't think they feel that way. I think they're doubling down, ladies and gentlemen, because they have so much invested in him that they basically told him, because you've earned your keeps here, you've paid your dues, you've been here nearly 20 years, we're going to give you half of the 10 o'clock gig, 10 o'clock news. Which I've said all along, that's no reason why you give a anchorship to somebody who clearly is not the favorite, who clearly is not liked, especially women at Channel 2, but most importantly, viewers. They just simply do not like Mike Meeback for a variety of reasons, in my humble opinion. It doesn't matter whether I like him or not. There are people that I cringe at, but they're very popular, not just at two, but all over the Bay Area news landscape. I'm not a big fan of Ryan Yamamoto at KPIX, better known as CBS News Bay Area, but I'll give him 2 points about Yamamoto. Then I'll go back to my original broadcast. He's improved. His voice seems to have picked up, I guess, some timbre, and he's much better. And they're showcasing him a lot. They put him on, in fact, as the lead moderator in that mayoral debate they had a couple of weeks ago. So, people can improve, but some people can't, and they just are who they are, better or worse. Back to Channel 2. So they've been interviewing lots of people and doing these auditions, fillers, people who have done the 10 o'clock news, like Betty Yu, like Savage, like various other, Ali Rasmus, Christina Rendon. I like all those people. Some are a little bit under the radar, if you know what I mean. Betty Yu, I think, should be in the field. I think as an occasional fill-in or as a weekend anchor, she's fine. They're certainly paying her a lot, and I do believe ultimately she's one of the chosen one, which is why Heather Holmes has been meeting with people. She clearly feels out of place, Heather Holmes. I'm not a big Heather Holmes fan, but I respect her a hell of a lot more because apparently she's a hard worker. She's got more news acumen than I thought. She has been there a while, obviously has name recognition, a little understated in my view, but whatever. But here's the deal. Heather Holmes is under contract for about another year. Now, could they buy her out? Could she make a deal with them and leave earlier? Of course. They're not going to keep anybody over there. In fact, their whole MO, the firm, is make people work a lot, maybe make them feel a little underappreciated, if you will, and then let them go bye-bye. Nothing is sacred anymore. There is no affinity. There is no desire to keep people, even popular people, like a Heather Holmes, stay put. So she's met with a lot of Bay Area news people, executives. I know for a fact from my sources, she met with the bigwig at KPIX. For what? I don't think for a local picks anchorship. I think, like a whole lot of other anchors here and beyond, she wants out and perhaps wanted to audition for that new CBS News platform that's streaming called CBS News 24/7. Because whether they like it or not, no pun intended, it's kind of clever. CBS via KTVU is getting lots and lots of anchors coming to San Francisco wanting to be a part of that program. And it's headquartered right here in San Francisco. And pay is probably kind of good depending upon your name. In any event, the headline: Heather Holmes wants out of KTVU. I'm pretty sure. Now, unless they do a 360, which is possible, and ultimately go back to her, what kind of attitude is she going to have? How is she going to feel that the only reason why she's going to be back or stay put at Fox 2 is because they just simply weren't impressed with the people that they were auditioning, or just a matter of circumstances, they kept her because nobody emerged. Once again, I think it would be a dynamite duo of Alex Savage and Heather Holmes. Just my opinion. And it also, in this day and age where you work hard, you strive hard to keep the little audience that you have. That's the case with Fox 2 and Channel 2. Nothing going on at 7 for the time being, although I do think at ABC7, they are just plain fed up with Disney, with their news director, the embattled Trixie Watkowski. They're fed up. At CBS, San Francisco 855 Battery, a fairly fluid situation, but there seems to be, dare I say, a serenity at Channel 5. Ratings are decent. They're making inroads. They are battling other time elements. They're frankly doing a good job, I think. And I'm not always one who is impressive or feels impressed by what is taking place. Cron, you got multitudes of issues at Cron. Still don't have a GM, although there's one that they have on their radar to replace Jim Rose. The news division, they don't have anybody. I talked on Wednesday about them maybe going after Frank Somerville. My God, Cron, what do you have to lose? You would jolt yourself. You would give a much needed jolt of energy and enthusiasm. There's no issue other than, well, you got to talk to the bigwigs at Nexstar and you got to go through the politics. I'm sure lots of those things count. They do. But can you imagine Frank Somerville and say Justine Waldman? You want to talk about a dynamic duo. Cron, again, question, what the hell do you have to lose? Get him on board. My God, that's an easy one. I talked about Channel 2 and the fact they have the anchor all over the place. They don't know what the hell they're doing. NBC Bay Area. Well, just when you think there's a symmetry and there's cohesiveness, you got a very popular news director, the former KGO assistant news director, Stephanie Adronow, or Droney, I mispronounced it, Stephanie Adroni at NBC Bay Area, but they're having problems. Corporate NBC, once again, is laying people off. Why? You just made over $1 billion, NBC, at the Olympics, which was very successful in Paris. You're paying a lot of bills. You've got lots of things going. You've got, talk about fluidity, and a lot of people are happy. And then news comes that they're about to launch a whole new set of layoffs. Why? I don't know. You made $1 billion off the Olympics. There was no terrorism. It was one of the most watched TV events ever. The Olympics, your pride and poise. You know, your bread and butter, speaking of bread and butter, NBC, and now comes word of imminent layoffs, including your own stations and the news divisions. My God. Okay. So Heather Holmes, I don't know what's going to happen. They better make a decision quick because she's already pissed. And a more pissed off Heather Holmes, that ain't good. Quickly, some housekeeping. Folks, become a YouTube follower, subscribe to my channel, and please, folks, make a contribution to my cause, and that will enable me to give you all the news, scoops, information, entertainment, opinion going to you, something you look forward to every day. Thanks a lot. See you later.